Do you ever feel overwhelmed? Like you just can't keep your head above water? Every time you feel like you're getting ahead, you take 3 steps back. Well, I've been there. As a safety manager, sometimes you feel like you are just getting over something right when you get smacked in the face with something else. And oftentimes, just being overwhelmed and frustrated and busy, you don't really know what to do. Well, if you're looking for a good place to start to improve your safety program, start here with the safety assessment. Let's check it out. Hey, before we get started with the video, I wanted to take a quick time out and tell you how you can download a free OSHA audit checklist. Simply go to my website, Help with OSHA. You can click right there on the homepage and you can download a free OSHA audit checklist. This is the best way to prepare you and your team for an unexpected OSHA inspection. I get asked all the time, David, where do I start? Like, I know I need to be doing this, I need to be doing that. My boss says I need to be doing this thing over here. Somebody got hurt over there. And it's just overwhelming. And it's easy to go, where do I start? Well, I developed something I call the safety steps. And this is what I help busy safety managers walk through step by step so they know a path of what they're working on. That way you're not being reactive, you're being proactive because you know what you need to do each day in order to make the company a little bit safer place. Now, the very first step is the safety assessment. That's the first step you need to do as a safety manager. Now, whether you've been a safety manager for 10 years or whether this is your first week on the job, you need to make sure you do this step. And it's not just a one-time thing. This is something you need to do on a regular basis. So you kind of start here multiple times. What is a safety assessment? Well, a safety assessment is when you go out into the facility, use your own eyes, your own ears, you look around and you think, how is somebody going to get hurt on the job? And typically there's 2 different buckets. There's a bucket over here where you have serious injuries, where somebody could get killed, somebody could get an amputation, somebody could get just a life-altering injury. Those are the serious ones. Those need to be at the top of the list. How is somebody going to get seriously hurt? Now, oftentimes those aren't frequent, right? They might be once every 20 years, once every 5 years, but they're not very often, so they don't always get spotlighted. The ones that are often are in the other bucket. They're in the frequent accidents. They're the ones that show up on your OSHA log every year, right? Somebody getting a cut on the finger, somebody getting a back strain, somebody twisting an ankle, whatever it is. It's stuff that happens typically with hand injuries or slips, trips and falls or strains. These are things that happen over and over and over again, and they kind of get spotlighted. And if you're not careful, you'll have people go, well, that just happens. It doesn't just happen. There's a way to prevent frequent accidents from happening as frequent as they do. So during the safety assessment, you're looking at serious accidents, you're looking at frequent accidents, and you're trying to figure out what can we do to be proactive to prevent these things from happening. Now, something I've developed to help safety managers is actually a safety assessment form. And this is what I do. When I do a free safety assessment call with a client or a potential client, what I'll do is the first thing we do is we get on the call and they've already filled this out, right? I emailed it to them. They have a copy of it. They work down it. So I wanted to show you and kind of walk you through the big chunks of the safety assessment form because this is a great way to get started. So the first section is on the company background, and that's where you're going to give the company name, your name, and then this is the question I love because I want you to pretend like I'm 7 years old and explain to me what your company does. Because oftentimes when you work at a company, you get in the weeds of all the details going on, but we need to be really clear. What do we do, right? Well, we make doors, we make furniture, we make medicine, whatever it is. What do you produce? What do you make? Who's your customer? What are you doing? How many facilities do you have? Where are you located? What state are you in? Because there's some federal OSHA, there's some state OSHA, so we want to know the requirements for that area. And have you ever been through an OSHA inspection? Has your company ever gone through an inspection? You can go on the OSHA establishment search and actually find out if you've gone through an OSHA inspection. It might have happened before you even were hired. It might be something that happened, 6 or 7 years ago, but it's important to know the history of the company. So company background, all that's in section 1. Section 2 is talking about hazards. Now, we're going to talk about the serious hazards, right? The one bucket over here, how somebody's going to get seriously hurt on the job. And then we're going to talk about where someone is most likely going to get hurt, right? There's certain areas, everything's not equal in a facility. There's some areas that are more dangerous than other areas. So you want to know the location where someone's most likely going to get hurt. And then we're going to go through the OSHA logs. And we're going to look at the OSHA log for this year. We're going to look at the OSHA logs for previous years and really get an idea of where the frequent accidents are coming up and if you've had anything serious in the past. Section 4 is managing expectations. Now, this is where we get into the meat of it, because we've looked at the hazards, we've looked at the company background, we've looked at your past OSHA records. But when we talk about managing expectations, we want to know, what do employees expect from you? What does your boss expect from you? What do you expect from yourself? This clarifies priorities, right? Let me say that again. You have to know what the expectations are. People get frustrated because of unmet expectations. So your boss will get frustrated if you aren't meeting his or her expectations. So you need to be clear on what those are. And then the last section, section 5, is talking about essential programs and really diving into the safety programs you have. That's section 5. And section 6 is the one that I leave kind of the cherry on top. Section 6 is when do you have a hard time sleeping? Now, as a safety manager, if you go home and you go, man, I'm worried about this one area, right? Where are you worried that somebody could get hurt? Where are you worried there could be a repeat of an accident that happened in the past? What's keeping you awake at night? So if you walk through this safety assessment, it is a fantastic way to clarify what you need to be working on every day. It's the very first step in my safety steps. You have to know where you are currently in order to get where you want to go. You have to know where you are if you want to get where you want to go, right? So clarify where you are with a safety assessment. Again, I offer a free safety assessment call. I'd be glad to help you out. This is something that will really spotlight areas that you need to focus on to prevent accidents and avoid an unexpected OSHA inspection. Until we talk again, do everything you can to keep the people you work with safe, because no one should get hurt at work.